So basically, when you come out, you count it 3 or 4 seconds, your parachute should open, right? If there's a little bit of a twist or whatever, you just kind of just hold the back of the risers, pull them,
Damn,
spin
dude.
around, and then you're fine after that. But jumping out of the plane isn't the issue. It's the landing part. So when you're in the air, like their parachute, you're not in the air for that long. For me, I'm a heavier guy, so I'm in the air for like maybe like 45 seconds, right? And just going straight down, right? So
Fuck, that
basically,
takes so much courage. I think we should title this episode Courage because holy Christ, Max.
not at all, not at all. I'm compared to the
That's what
other
you
guys, I
say. Dude, I understand, but like, yeah, you're all courageous, but like, you alone also did that. There's not a lot of people that can say that they did all of these things.
It's Johnny Late Night! And now here's your host, Johnny Rogers!
Welcome back, everyone, to episode number 45 of The Johnny Rogers Show. My guest today is a stand-up comedian based out of Toronto, Canada. He was in the Army, completed firefighter training, been a school bus driver, network technician, search and rescue volunteer, and so much more. As a comedian, he has performed at the Burbank Comedy Festival in California, and he's even opened up for Ed the Sock. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my friend and yours, Max Ross.
also my internet's pretty good, so I don't think there should be any lagging or anything.
Nice, nice. That's
I
always good.
listened to the Alex DeWitt one, and I was just like laughing the whole time. So it was just like, dude, I can't hear you at all. I was like laughing at that. I'm just like, okay, I know my internet's good, so I shouldn't have any issues here. But yeah, I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see.
that old Mississauga internet that Alex is on.
Yeah.
He's like, it's in the city. What do you
He was in
mean?
the basement too. I kept yelling that because I was listening to it when I was driving, and I kept yelling just like, "You're in your basement. I've been in your basement. You always lose reception there. Like, go to your bedroom or something, man."
I guess it was just the best backdrop that he could have at the
I
time.
guess so. Yeah.
Shout out Alex DeWitt. Everybody go watch that episode too. It's funny. It's just been endorsed by my guest today, Max Ross. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thank you very much, man.
Fucking, I see you've been quite busy. I know you as a stand-up comedian, and then I check my Instagram feed, and you've graduated from a firefighter class.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot. Like for the past, yeah, I'm only early 30s, so it's young. I'm gonna keep saying it's young, but
Yeah.
yeah, I've been doing a lot. Everything keeps changing, and Alex is the one that actually made a joke about that. It's like, dude, you're basically Forrest Gump because like I've done so much with a very low IQ, and
I wouldn't say that. That's the self-deprecating of comedians coming
I,
out.
I guess so don't look at my high school report card.
Yeah, well,
So
shit, dude. Mine would be the exact same. I remember, like, I really hated that about school, about how we measured like what the success of our future would be based off of some numbers on like a page in a class that you really couldn't give two shits about. Like I
yeah,
remember coming back from my family wanted to go on a vacation to like Disney or whatever in Florida, and it was just 2 weeks, and it was at like, but it was at the start of like the second semester going into in high school, and just missing that 2 weeks, I was like failing two at least two classes.
oh yeah,
Because they were like,
yeah.
"Oh, you have to read this book and do a book report." And I'm like, "I'm not reading when I'm on vacation."
Yeah, majority of the things that I did in high school, I'm not using at all. The only thing like I actually like and struggle like I was I don't know if you're the same, but I was horrible with math. Like I to
Horrible.
this day I suck at math, and like I don't do it at all. But like when I did like my testing for firefighter, like you have to that, and also years ago I tried to get into policing. There's the aptitude test that you have to do, and it has math in it for some dumb reason.
No reason at
And
all.
I kept failing that in the beginning because like I don't know fractions, I don't know percentage or any of that stuff. Like even I hate going to restaurants where you have to. It's not really in Canada, but like when you go to like Europe or even like I was in South Africa, they don't give separate bills. They just give one bill, and then everybody pulls out a pen and notepad,
Uh,
scratch paper to do long division and like measuring out percentage or whatever. I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point.
then
And
somebody
I
pulls it. Max pulls out his table of contents. He's like, "All right, so how are we doing this?"
no, I just pull my credit card in and just like I'll just pay for the full thing so I can avoid doing math because that's not my subject. My sister like just like, oh, do you want to learn how to do this? I'm like, nope. I'm like, you can do the math for me, or I just continue on with my credit card debt and just pay for everything. So like,
Just
I'm
to
not.
avoid that, like I hate that was one thing that always sucked about serving and working in restaurants is if you had like your own little float on you, you'd have to do like the change and stuff right at the table. You know, somebody the bill is $60 and somebody gives you like $85 or whatever. You have to, right there pull out. Now it's an easy one, but it doesn't always work that way. And I
Yeah.
always found, I don't know about you, but I always found like when somebody like asks me a math question on the spot, I like freeze, even if it's like the easiest question. I'm like, I don't know, seven, like.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same too. Like my, literally the easiest questions like, oh, like two plus two. Oh, what's going on? Five.
You're just like window.
And my parents were like that too. Like with like I think any parent like strict parent would be just like they try to explain the math question and you're just crying, you're not getting it, and they just get angrier. Like
Yeah,
I have immigrant parents, so my parents were like always like that too.
they're
Just
always angry.
yeah, yeah. But especially with like schoolwork or whatever, just like I left the old country for you to do well at math.
Yeah,
And I'm like, well, that's a you problem now because
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
doing well at math ever.
Where did your parents immigrate from?
Both my parents are from Poland, so um, my parents moved to Toronto. So I have three sisters. My older sister was she was born in Germany because originally my parents left Poland because to escape the communism. So they moved to Munich, and my older sister was born there. And then they had either plans to either go to the U.S. or Canada, and Canada was a little bit quicker to move to at the time, and so they moved to Toronto. And yeah, I was born there. So my first official language was Polish. So,
Uh,
and I still speak it, but like
Did they raise you like only speak? Because I know in some immigrant households they're like you only speak our native tongue in this household, like no English.
yeah, like I grew up like every time I went home, I like only spoke Polish to my parents, to my
Wow.
family. With my sisters, like we like obviously spoke English, but
She's speaking
yeah,
German over there.
yeah, yeah, like the first like before I started school, I don't know when I really started to learn English, but once I got into kindergarten, um, I just remember like I was watching a home video like and I was like, excited to like go to school because I was going to school with my older sister, and literally once I got there I just hated it. I was just like very shy and timid, and for the full year in kindergarten I didn't say like a word to anybody. I was like a mute, and
Wow.
the teachers just thought like I was like a foreign kid that like didn't speak English, but like I'm pretty sure I spoke English all right like when I was like 4 or 5. But yeah, for that first year in kindergarten, I didn't say a word, so I was like super quiet.
Wow. I was gonna like, do you remember the first word you said?
I do. So I don't know if kindergarten's the same way because when I did junior kindergarten and then senior kindergarten. I think it's in senior
Yeah, yeah,
kindergarten the
yeah.
next year. So the senior kindergarten, I had a really cool teacher. I still remember her name, Miss Banano, and
Wow.
really nice person, just a fun teacher. And uh, I think she sat me down privately and stuff, and just tried to like make me like open up a little bit. And I remember sitting once I finally felt comfortable like being around like people and stuff. I remember sitting down on like the carpet, and I forget what the teacher was asking. I think it was something. something related to Christmas or whatever. I went to a Catholic school, so it's something to do with the birth of Jesus or something. And I answered it, and like these kids just looked at me, just like, this guy can talk. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I was such a, I'm still like, I've always kind of been like a shy person. Like I'm even like off stage, like I'm like, it depends though. Like if I'm with like close people or with like comics and stuff, like I'm obviously like chatty and stuff. But for the most part, like I'm very like timid around people still. I don't know how to fix it or anything, but it's just how I am, I guess.
And it's interesting that you say that because I would also say the same thing about myself. Even like growing up through school, I like always very shy kid, never really liked to like say too much or anything like that. And then I even remember, I'll never forget this when it was like in grade 4, and I don't think I was doing very well, and there was like a parent teacher interview, and I think his name was Mr. Haskin, was my grade 4 teacher, and he said to my parents, he said, "The squeaky wheels get the grease." He said if he doesn't speak up and say that he needs help, like I just think everything's fine. And that was like a kind of a little bit like that always stayed with me, even though I remained to be a shy kid throughout high school or whatever, unless I was with my, core group of friends where I could feel like I could be myself. But I was always like, oh yeah, if I don't speak up, then nothing ever gets done or nothing ever happens. But I was gonna say, like, in your scenario too, from the outside looking in, people would see this confident person, like somebody who is willing to get on a stage and tell jokes, somebody who is willing to join the army and give that service is a tremendously brave thing to do. And then even to want to run into a burning building, you psycho. Like,
Yeah, I just have that adrenaline rush, I guess. But no, but it is true what you mean about like the so with like comedy, like when I'm on stage, especially like if it's like a full crowd, just like it's not like a garbage open mic or something like that.
which is
Like
most
if
of
it's
them,
a full
sadly.
crowd, it's weird because like I feel super confident. And I learned that like in the when I first started doing comedy is that like there's a guy I don't know if you know him, Michael Samuels. Yeah, he's not doing much comedy anymore. He's doing more like background acting and other stuff. But I remember my first year, I used to do this show called "Can You Make 'Em Laugh" in Mississauga. It was like mainly like all like it was like all black comedians and a black audience. So it was a cool like atmosphere and stuff, and like a lot of like pros like would just show up. Like I remember like Dave Mirage used to just like pop by, Tricks, like who else came by? Nathan McIntosh, like when he was still living in Canada. Um, well, I guess all those guys moved out, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, they all eventually
But it was
left.
cool though, because people used to just come out and like it was like nice meeting like pros and stuff and doing that show. But like, yeah, going back to what I was saying about like the confidence thing, like when I first started doing stand up, like I was very shy. I'd always look down and like no trust in my material. And what Michael told me is just you have to look confident like every time because like if they see you be if you're shy and you look like you're scared and nervous, they can feel that, they can see
Yo,
it, they
boy.
can hear it, and like especially like with that crowd too, because sometimes they could be like heckling a lot, and they would be honest with you. Like it was like a mini Apollo in a in a way.
That's
Um,
hilarious.
but and yeah, I continue doing that. Like I just like I know this is fun, even if I'm nervous. Like if it's like for some reason like a showcase or something, or like just a club and the club manager is there. Like at my back of my head, just have fun with that. So like when I'm on stage, I'm very like confident. But then when I'm off stage, even when I'm trying to talk to like going on a date or whatever, I'm the most awkwardest person ever. Like I feel like I can't like start a conversation or keep a
Yeah.
conversation. It's just like, and then just like, don't you like do this like on stage? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. That's my safe zone there.
Yeah,
But
like it's
off stage,
pre-written.
yeah. And then like I said, like my friends I went to high school with, they all know me as a shy person. So when they started noticing that I started doing stand up, they're like this is unbelievable. Like I don't believe you. So I had to post some videos
Yeah, I've really got a similar reaction. They're just like, really? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you want to get up on a stage and all right, like, sure. Super supportive, but you're just like, come on, have a little faith in me. Even now,
Yeah.
like, being like just over 10 years in, I'm just now learning new things of like, oh, you need to maybe during a punchline, like, look an audience member in the eyes. And that, like, is a whole different ball game. But that alone is like, a certain level of confidence that you have to have in the moment to look someone directly in the eyes and say your punchline to them, or even say the setup to them in some way. And instead of, a lot of comedians will look up at the ceiling, like their jokes are written on the ceiling, or they'll like you said, down at the floor, anything to not make any eye contact with people. But a truly great comedian, and I've seen this a few times where I've gone to shows with like pro comics. You could be at anywhere in the crowd and be watching them, like, looking at their eyes, and you can almost feel like they're looking right at you. You specifically. There's like that weird like ability. It's almost not hypnosis, but it's almost like this weird trick of illusion where the way that a comedian like pans the audience and make sure to make as much eye contact as possible, it just kind of brings everyone into that like center focus point to be led in whatever direction, right?
Yeah, it's like that.
Misdirects or
Yeah, it's like that. I think it's that Mona Lisa like effect or whatever. Because like if you walk, if you look to the left of it, it still looks like it's looking at you, as opposed to like when you look at the right, like it feels like the eyes are like. I think that's
yeah.
the. I don't know if that's the exact painting, but there is like that painting where it just like the eyes look like it's looking.
I find that with
Looking right
most
at you.
paintings with like
Yeah,
really well drawn eyes in it, you're just like, oh shit, this thing is following me.
yeah,
Little known trick for stand-up comedy there too.
yeah. I guess so. Yeah, I'm just saying. Like lately, like if especially if I'm doing crowd work, like I'll look at because it's like super awkward to be like, hey, is it your birthday today?
Yo, what do you do for a living, sir? You're
But
just
I
staring.
catch myself doing that. Actually, I was at Absolute this past week, and like I can't like I always do that. Like I always kind of look up and it's like, what am I doing? Like I'm like I could just like kind of like I try to like look at everybody, but like then I look
Yeah.
up and I'm like, this just looks stupid. Like when I'm doing it.
Noticing like little ticks that you have on stage is so funny because it's only really noticeable to you. But I noticed
Yeah,
like I just noticed, and I'm sure I've been doing it for years, but in moments like I'll use my hands a lot too when I'm talking, but there's moments where I'm just like I can't even show you, but I'm just kind of like standing there with my hand like on my stomach. And I'll just leave my hand there. Like it's just like it's just a resting place. Like I just ate a big dinner. I'm just like rubbing my stomach while I'm telling these jokes.
I used to do that too with the like I put my let me just pull this down. I put my arm back here and just like talk like that, and
Yeah.
I do that sometimes, but like I try not to do that because like it's the same thing. It looks like you're like afraid of or like you're uncomfortable on there,
Yeah, a lot of
right?
comics too will like they'll grab that mic stand and they'll like hold on to it for like
It's like a
for
safety net.
everything, right? And
Yeah,
they're just touching it and moving it around and they're just being so distracting with everything that's happening. But the one that I hate the most is like when people will like move the mic stand beside them and
yeah.
then they won't use it as like a lean or anything. They'll just every so often they'll just start reaching out for it and they'll miss it like three times.
I was gonna say that because I've done that before. And when we
I've
were
done it
first
so
like
many times. I've done it so many
um,
times.
actually not even during the pandemic when like things started opening up, like for example, like Absolute, they gave you separate microphones, so you just
Mm.
go up with that stupid plug-in thing, and I'm just going on stage, and I'm like used to that too. I just try to reach for it. I'm just like, whoa, it's just like it's not there. Like,
Oh, those moments are character building moments, aren't they?
yeah.
You're just like, oh, everyone saw me make an ass of myself.
But yeah, that tick is something I still do sometimes. I try to like not do it anymore, but it is like it feels like a safety net. I'm just like I like at this point now we shouldn't need safety nets. We just
No, no, no. I remember
dive
though
right into the
talking
crowd.
I remember talking to Kyle Lucy about like changing up stuff on stage, and he was telling me that he felt like he was using like too much physical comedy. Like he felt like, oh, I'm relying too much on like being crazy and jumping and moving all over the place. Kind of like a Jim Carrey-esque sort of deal. That
Hmm.
he decided like for a few shows that he was going to do that arm technique where he wasn't going to allow himself to use his body. He's going to do everything from this point. He's just going to
Yeah,
tuck his arm in and just stay in this position. And I've done that a couple times where I've just like left the mic in the mic stand. Don't even take the thing out. Just use it like a musician would. Just have it right in front of you and like deliver your jokes. And it's amazing how uncomfortable you feel
yeah,
with just like a slight change like that. You're like, oh, my body doesn't like change.
no, for sure, yeah. Um, yeah, like I sometimes I try not to what's the word I'm looking for? Like perceive what the audience is gonna react or
Yeah.
whatever. So like I don't plan out like crowd work stuff, but sometimes like if I'm hosting or something, I want to kind of like have something prepped or whatever, and then it bombs. I'm like, uh-oh, like this was supposed to work. I practiced this. I practiced doing crowd work in a mirror on the mirror. But yeah, you can't. Yeah, like it's yeah, well,
Is there
exactly what Kyle Lucy's doing, like saying like it's like
is there anything that you've tried to like change or like throw yourself off to, I don't know, like play around with what you can do in comedy?
I think I try to like stick to material, but like lately, like I've been doing a lot more like hosting and stuff, which is like forcing you to do crowd work, and I like it though, because like in between, like you'll, um, yeah, you could think of new bits while you're at it, but at the same time, like when I'm doing crowd work, sometimes like I don't even plan for it. It's just like, oh, this actually can segue into my bit
Yeah,
and stuff. So
yeah.
I've been loving doing that because like I've never been a good improv guy, and actually I did the back room, Ariel and Brandon's room on
Nice. I'm gonna
4th
hopefully have
Street.
them on soon.
Yeah, no, they got a good thing going with their club, but they have on Sundays they have like a riffing night where it's just all
Nice.
riffing and improv. And I posted on Facebook because my birthday was on the Sunday. I'm like, I have nothing booked. I just wanted to like see like if someone could put me on a show
Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah.
a birthday gift, I guess. But Ariel messaged me. He's just like, "Hey, are you good at riffing and thinking on the spot?" And I was honest with him, just like, I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm hit and miss with that. And he's like, "All right, cool. Can you do 7 minutes on Sunday?" I'm like, "Okay, sure." And I was nervous like the whole day. I don't know why I was nervous for it because like everything had to be improv. He said that like you can write material the day of and do that, but no, don't rely on your old material. Don't and just kind of just riff off the crowd. If you have nothing to say, just ask the crowd like, give me a topic.
Mm.
And I did it, and it was a pretty smaller night that night for the show, but like it worked out perfectly for me because like Ariel was on hosting. He kind of like got an idea of like what the audience was like. I got an idea what to talk about a little bit, and yeah, I did all right. Like not the greatest, but like I was able to just riff off like everything, and like in the back of my head, I'm like, how am I going to do 10 minutes of nothing?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
somehow I was able to do it, and like in the end, I actually got like a couple bits, like new bits I can like
Yeah.
work on stage now. So
That's the amazing thing about accept like taking on opportunities that scare you. You know, like
exactly, yeah.
so often than not, people will be presented with an opportunity, and what they'll do is they'll self sabotage and they'll tell themselves every reason why it won't work and all the ways that
Hmm.
it can go wrong. And that's like a very helpful defense mechanism to have in a lot of different scenarios, right? To map out what the worst case scenario would be so that you can at least be prepared. Because there's nothing worse than being unprepared for like a bad scenario to happen. But accepting the gig and then being like, I'll figure it out when it comes. I'll just figure out what to do, how to riff. I am not great at it, but hey, I'll give it a shot. and then being able to get stuff out of that and that experience and opportunity is just like invaluable.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, like at this point, like I want to try to accept as much opportunities as I can, because like that's the one thing I noticed about the pandemic about myself. Like everybody's figuring out themselves during the pandemic, and that's I guess that's the grateful part of it, whether it's good or bad stuff. But for me, like, so I've been doing stand up just over 10 years. I think you're the same, right?
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So once the pandemic happened and there was no shows or anything, that's when I kind of realized I'm like, oh, I'm really lazy. Like I made like a few excuses like when I was like before the pandemic, I'm like, oh, I can't do this show. I got work in the morning or something and like blah blah blah, all that stuff. And then during the pandemic when we couldn't do any like shows or anything, that's like I realized I'm like I'm really lazy. I'm really lazy with my material because like for the longest time I was doing my material like I was doing jokes about my braces because I knew it worked. But at the same time, like I know my braces are coming up. I can't
Yeah,
rely
yeah.
on this. And so I'm just like I gotta actually sit down, write new material. Like I can't rely on like doing jokes about oh I was in the army and stuff. Okay, because I just got out like officially got out of the military a couple months ago, but I can't I can't do that for like 20 years. Be like oh so I recently got out of the military. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I keep growing and moving on. Um, so that's kind of what like made me push more to be more like go out, take every opportunity I can. Don't be lazy. Stop making excuses.
Yeah.
Right? There are some times where I have legitimate excuses. Like I still have a day job and stuff, and like sometimes
For
like I'm
sure.
working way over, but
You have
I
to
work in
value what
yeah
your time is worth as well, right? Like if your job is
exactly
willing to pay you for the time, or you can ruin all that for a 5 minute spot, you're like,
yeah
I'm good.
exactly. But yeah, at this point, like yeah, I just want to take as much opportunities and like that, like just doing that riffing one. Like I like told myself, like I was heading over to back room. I'm just like, this is gonna be the worst birthday ever. I'm gonna bomb. Why am I doing this? Ariel and Brandon are gonna hate me. And then I just did it. I just accepted it. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. All right. I'm just gonna just keep going. I kept telling myself, I'm like, okay, I've hosted before, so I've done crowd work before. I just have to do it longer and not rely on jokes that I know are gonna work. And
Yeah.
I just did that, and it like came out as a success. But even if I did bomb, like
Still
I
would have
don't
been a
think it would have like
success.
yeah. I just like I did it. I tried it. Right. Try again next time, I guess.
Because that's the thing that we need to realize too is like we've not to, pat ourselves on the back too much here, but like public speaking is a very scary thing for a lot of people. Some people it's their
Mm.
worst nightmare. They couldn't imagine having to get up and say more than 3 words in front of anyone for that matter. So right away, like even if you fail at that, you're failing at something that like nobody would even want to try to begin with.
Yeah. Like exactly. Yeah. That's why like I feel like because I've done a lot like with like the like I was a paratrooper in the army, so I've jumped out of planes. I've done the firefighter training before. Just done a lot of opportunities, but like as corny as this is, I think like my biggest accomplishment was doing stand up for the first time because it's always like everybody always says like oh I can do this or whatever
Yeah.
or and they never will try it and stuff. I had an interest in it, and Alex DeWitt, I went to high school with him. He started doing it a year or so before me. So I used to go to shows with him, and just like for like months, I was like too scared to like try it and stuff. And then I just finally just said like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I did it. It was horrible, but I felt very accomplished after that.
Where did you do your first set? Do you
My
remember what you talked about?
I'm pretty sure I still have my printed out material that I had to actually read out because I was so nervous. So
I did
the
the
first,
same shit. I had a book beside me on the stool. Like it was like
dude,
10 to 20 pages. I'm like, I don't know what he's gonna want to hear this. Hey everybody, Johnny here. Just want to take a quick second to thank our newest Patreon subscriber, CLB. I appreciate your support, and because you are subscribed to the show for just $1 a month, you're getting this episode before anyone else. If you want to be cool like CLB, head to patreon.com/TheJohnnyRogers and join in on the fun. All right, now back to the episode.
Dude, I wrote down in my material after each joke in brackets, I put down pause for laughter. There were pauses, but there was no laughter whatsoever. So my first set, August 29th, 2011, I did Sportsters in the Danforth, which doesn't exist anymore. And it was just literally an open mic, just comics and maybe the one regular drunk dude that's there.
Yeah.
But I used to go there I used to just go there to check out Alex do stand up and stuff. And before that, I used to try to email, or at the time it was calling. You had to call in to Yuck Yucks to get the Tuesday amateur night. And I used to call in, and I never got a response back. And I'm kind of happy because that would have been a complete disaster for our club. So it's nice to do it at just some garbage open mic. And I didn't have a stage name or anything. I think I just went up as Max because I was just I don't know if this is gonna be
You tell the guy, the host, you're like, just Max is fine. He goes,
Max is
come to
fine.
the stage, just Max.
Yeah. So I remember I think I drank rum or something before going just to calm my nerves. And Alex DeWitt picked me up because we used to live close by to each other. And he picked me up in his really old Pontiac Sunfire. And normally we're chatting with each other when we're driving. I look like I'm going on death row. I'm just not even talking and stuff, just losing, just shaking and stuff. And I remember just going, once we got there, put my name on the list. I'm like, oh, this is it. And I remember just kept going back and forth, outside and inside, just trying to review my material. They finally called my name up, and it's my first time holding a microphone, so I don't even know how that thing works. And yeah, I tried my first bit. I think it was probably something offensive. I was 21, so I just thought you had to be edgy with everything.
Yeah.
I just literally stuttered my whole way through, and then someone in the crowd, a comic in the crowd, just told me just read off your little paper, and I did, and there everyone was laughing at just how nervous and how dumb I looked, but I did maybe 2 minutes or something, and I got off stage and not stage, I walked to the bar because there's no stage there.
Yeah. I walked around the people.
And yeah, I was just relieved, and me and Alex left right away, and it felt like the most accomplished thing ever. And
is that what made you want to do it again?
Yeah, literally the next day. So that same show, the Can You Make 'Em Laugh show in Toronto, I used to go there with Alex Lux. Alex used to get a lot of spots there. The guy that hosted it was Jay Martin. He would always call Alex Young Buck because Alex was 18 or 19 or something at the time, and just would always get spots there. And I was talking to the producer. The producer is Marvin Black, I believe his name was. We were talking. We just said yeah, I did my first set yesterday, and he's just you want to do 2 minutes? And that's the one time I took the opportunity and I'm okay. And I knew everything that I did the night before bombed, so I can't do that. So he's only giving me 2 minutes. So I'm okay. I was just looking through my book, and I've written material about I was still fairly new in the Army when I first joined. So I was doing I think I was doing material about how movies aren't really relatable to the military and stuff. I did something about babies crying on a plane or something too, but it did, well, with my material now, it's not the greatest, but it did all
Yeah.
right. People laughed. People knew that it was like I was just starting to do stand up. This is my second time doing stand up, and it went by great, and like I got laughs, and that's what kind of like motivated me more. I'm like, okay, maybe I can do this, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I was gonna say I had the exact same experience of like my first time was awful. And then the second time doing it, it was like a little bit better. Like I got more laughs for sure, and I didn't need to read off of a paper or anything. And then, but what made me want to keep doing it was as I was like kind of outside of the restaurant, just like processing like everything that just happened on stage. This couple, after the show was done, came up to me and was like, "You were really great. You should keep doing this." And I was like,
nice.
"Oh, thank you." Like just that outside validation. I was like, "Oh, all right, maybe I will. Yeah, sure."
That's that's always the best feeling too. Like it's funny. I had this is do you remember have you ever done the Yuck Yucks in Mississauga when it used to be there?
No, I never got a chance to do it.
So that old club, it was in such a weird location because like Mississauga is due for a club though. Like there's a few like rooms now, but like they should open like a Yuck Yucks or something here because like the Square One area is like booming, and but the Yuck Yucks was in like an industrial part of Mississauga. It's just like all like factories and stuff there. It's in like a random plaza. But surprisingly, there were like people that came out to that. Even the amateur night was like pretty fun to do. And I remember I did my set, and I got off stage, and there was this like drunk girl from Montreal. She was sitting in the front row, and Lenny Corrado, he was on the show too. He's basically my wingman, like just like or like my wing dad, I guess. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but he just like grabbed me to the side, like, oh, that girl was looking at you the whole time, right? I'm like, what? Okay. And yeah, after the show, I see Lenny like talking to her and just kind of hinting me to like come over and stuff. And yeah, she was like really into my She was drunk too, so like I, I don't know if I could use that as an example, but
Yeah.
yeah, she liked my set, and then yeah, she told me let's go out for drinks and stuff, and just like okay, I'm like I'm gonna finally get some showbiz action, I guess, but
Yeah, you're like, I'm liking the benefits of this comedy thing.
yeah, and so after there was another couple that was there, and they're just like, oh, they want to hang out with us, and they told me just like, oh yeah, like you were really funny, like you should continue on doing that. I'm like, this is like very validating. It's like really nice, and we went to this club called Sugar Daddies. Yeah, just the name of that. So this club is known for like having like there's been fights. There's been I'm pretty sure there's been a couple murders or like bodies found in the
Jesus.
back. It's a very bad club. They still have a picture of Snoop Dogg or whatever from like because he did like some show there or whatever,
I
and they still
love
have the
bars like
poster.
that
They
that
still
just
have the
hold
poster of
on to
it.
those moments.
But yeah, so we went out there. We just started drinking there, hanging out, and then the guy that was there with the other girl, they're just like, oh, let's go to Diamonds. I don't know if you know Diamonds. Diamonds is a strip club in
Nice.
Mississauga. So we went there. I have work in the morning, but I'm like, I want to see how far this goes with this girl. Went to Diamonds. This girl is drunk as hell. The other girl that was with the guy is also drunk, and they just start making out. The two girls. I'm sitting there with the dude. I'm just like, okay, I don't want to make out with you. I was just talking about comedy the whole time, and just like, and but like slowly, like it felt nice being validated by that girl and then that couple too. But slowly, that girl started losing interest in me, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if this is happening. And she's making out with this girl pretty hard. I'm like,
Yeah.
this lucky guy is gonna get a threesome with that with that
He's
group.
not even trying. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm pissed off. I'm the performer here. What's
Yeah, 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 yeah. You're like, hey, how about a
bullshit?
little action for the comedian?
And so I knew this was gonna happen. And this girl, the same Montreal girl, she pulls me out to the back or like to outside. She's like, "Oh, I'm just not feeling it right now," and like blah blah
How you
blah. But
say
like,
fatigué?
yeah, and yeah, she started saying like, "Oh, but I'll grab your number and stuff." I'm like, um, I'm I'm just gonna go. And she got
Yeah.
so pissed off. She's like, "Are you serious?" And with the super French Canadian accent, it's just like,
Yeah.
"Tabarnak, are you serious?" or whatever. And then and then went back, and then yeah, probably had a great time with that other couple. But
My
yeah, so
God.
the ending of this story is pretty sad, but for me at least. But it was validating, like just like
Yeah, it
knowing
definitely
that, like,
shows
okay,
you.
I'm pretty good at stand up, I guess, if I can kind of
Yeah.
almost pick up a girl.
You know what's funny is like this is such a common thing because you're a fan of comedy as well, so you probably know the trope of like all of the comedians that started in like the 90s and even early 2000s. They were mostly trying to do stand up to like get talk to women. You know what I mean? Like they wanted to meet girls, so they were like, "Where do I go to do that?" Well, you go to a comedy club or a restaurant or wherever the show is, and then you be the performer, and it also builds your confidence. And now this new generation, we're just like, I'm just trying to build self confidence. Like,
That's pretty accurate, actually.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I'm just trying to blow up my social media,
yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah,
I'm not
it's
trying to get a blowjob. I'm just trying to blow up my TikTok.
exactly, yeah.
Maybe we need to go back. That's what we need to do.
We need to
We
go back
need
to that,
not like the '90s were some heyday of comedy, but
yeah.
pretty rough time during that phase. I want to ask you though about if you want to talk more about like your time in the military. I know you said that you've transitioned out of it now, but like that, it's a crazy experience. You know that again is another thing that people say that they would like to do, but don't go through the full training and everything involved to do something like you said you were jumping out of airplanes. You know?
Yeah, no, so I joined. I had an interest, like I've always had an interest in like the military and stuff from like a young age, because like I think at grade three, when I was in third grade, my parents, they let me watch this, like it's some Polish war movie. It's more like a TV series, in like from like the 50s and 60s. It's about like these this tank crew or whatever, and they're just going through like the whole war, um, like fighting the Nazis and all that stuff. So at that young age, like I was really interested in history, and like especially like World War II history, and I was like, that's when I was just like, I want to be in the army or whatever, and that's always been my interest. I loved everything military when I was a kid. Once I started high school, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do as a career. Like I there's so many like career options I was like interested in. I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like architecture. I like doing like artsy stuff too. And then like I chose the simple route. I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I'll go into policing or something. And also, when I was a kid, I was an army cadet as well. So like I kind of had like that an idea of how like the at least how the Canadian military works, like their rank
Yeah.
structure and all that stuff. So I decided to go into policing. Right after high school, I went to police foundations. I think you mentioned you did that as
Yeah,
well,
yeah, I
correct?
graduated from that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that, and I'm like, okay, if I want to get into policing, I need like experience. So then I gained that interest back into the military. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to join the reserves, maybe do like 3 years of it, and then just put in my application for policing and then apply. So there's a guy I went to college with. He wanted to join the military, and he ended up getting in before I did, but he ended up not finishing basic. So
Ah.
once I got in, I was like, I thought I was gonna join with him and stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, I have no friends now.
Oh fuck.
So I got in November 2009, and a guy that I actually got sworn into the military, I actually knew from like Army cadets. So like
Oh,
I
no
like got
way.
a friendship with them, and then everybody that I joined with, like when we all got sworn in, we got very close very quickly, which is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Because like obviously like you guys are supposed to be like working together, you're fighting for each other and stuff. So like the fact that we were able to like get along with each other was like pretty good. Everybody was pretty cool. And then yeah, I did. I finished like all my basic training and infantry, um, all that stuff. So the unit I joined was the Queens Own Rifles of Canada in Toronto, and I once I qualified in like 2010 as an infantry soldier, and I think by like 2010 or 2011 they sent their last group, the last group of people to Afghanistan for the combat mission because
Damn.
after that they switched over from combat to a training mission. So they're training the like the Afghan army, Afghan police. So so I joined a little bit too late for that, so I didn't go to Afghanistan for that. But yeah, while I was in the military, like I still did like stuff that was like pretty cool and things that weren't normal for other people. Like I did my parachute course there, which was definitely something I didn't think I would ever be able to do. And it's a hard course too because like a lot of people fail it too because
Oh, wow.
before you get into jumping you have to do all the ground school stuff, and there's a lot of like different checks you have to do, and like a test in the end, like an actual like practical test of all the stuff. So you have to learn how to land properly so you don't break your legs when you land. You have to
That's
learn how
important.
to all this stuff to like hook up your parachute to the static line in the plane. So when you get out, the parachute opens on its own. Um,
Ah.
all the hand not hand signals, but all the commands that like the jump master calls and all that stuff. So you have to do all that, and like it was like pretty stressful because like you're getting yelled at, you're getting beasted like every day with it. It was just like it was rough. But like once you get into the jumping part, like it's fun, but you can easily injure yourself, which I felt that a lot because
Did you
with
almost have a close call?
my parachute opened, but like the difference between like the military parachutes, like those round ones,
Yeah.
so those are designed to get to the ground as quick as possible, right? So like when the
Ah.
plane is like flying, it's only like 1,000 feet in the air, 1,000 meters in the air or something. So it's pretty low. So like when the door is open or the ramp is lowered on the back of the plane, uh, like like it's just like you look at it, it's like we're not that high up, right? It's not like skydiving where like you're like super high up.
Yeah,
This
yeah, you
one,
have a
like
lot of fall time.
yeah, so this one when you get out of the plane, um, you have a um, you attach. Um, I'm already forgetting terms, so I just sound like a stolen valor guy. But but you
You're
have
like you
the
attach the thingamajig to
exactly yeah. You attach the thingamajig to a
doohickey.
static line, and basically when you get out of the plane, the parachute opens and then the bag stays. So once everybody is out, the jump master pulls in all those bags in and then flies out after. Um, so when you jump out of the plane, you basically have to count to like 3 or 4 seconds. So basically, when you come out, count to 3 or 4 seconds. Your parachute should open, right? If there's a little bit of a twist or whatever, you just kind of just hold the back of the risers, pull them,
Damn,
spin
dude.
around, and then you're fine after that. But jumping out of the plane isn't the issue. It's the landing part. So when you're in the air, like their parachute, you're not in the air for that long. For me, I'm a heavier guy, so I'm in the air for like maybe like 45 seconds, right? And just going straight down, right? So
Fuck, that
basically,
takes so much courage. I think we should title this episode Courage because holy Christ, Max.
not at all, not at all. I'm compared to the
That's what
other
you
guys I serve.
say. Dude, I understand, but like, yeah, you're all courageous, but like, you alone also did that. There's not a lot of people that can say that they did all of these things. It
yeah,
takes
I guess so.
least
Yeah, I kind of
a courage
try
trait.
try to humble myself a little bit because I know
Sure,
people in the
yeah.
military that's actually have done like
It's the same
more
thing with
crazier stuff.
comedians,
Yeah,
dude. It's the
exactly. Yeah,
same thing with comedians. No matter how cool your friends think an opportunity is that you did or how great a show was, you're like, yeah, but so and so just got a Netflix special. And I'm
yeah,
not as great as that. But it's not. It's like once you look from the outside or get someone else to, it's like, Jesus, I
yeah.
could not have done that.
No, it's true. And no, like I do look back at it too. Like look at the resume of stuff I've done. I'm just like, okay, this is pretty crazy. Like if I went back, like if there's like the third grader me, like if the
Yeah.
ghost of Max came to
Dude,
visit
that
me,
this is the
like,
perfect time for my podcast question.
oh,
You can make
did
a
I just
phone
like
call. You can make a phone call to 15-year-old Max. Doesn't affect your current timeline, but give him a piece of advice. What do you say to him?
Sorry, did I just ruin your?
No, no, you did a perfect segue into it. You went third grade, which we can get to if it's a different answer, but
Yeah, I guess. Sorry. So repeat the question. Actually, let's.
if you could make a phone call to 15-year-old Max and give him a piece of advice, it doesn't affect your current timeline, but just give him a piece of advice on how your timeline, if you will, has played out.
Okay. So yeah, I guess like 15-year-old. What am I in grade 9 in high
Something
school
like
or
that, yeah,
something?
grade
Yeah.
9, 10, somewhere around there.
I was a very nervous kid. I know Alex. I'm remembering now because Alex answered the same thing in your podcast last time. But like, yeah, I was very timid. I was scared of everything, and like, I remember like the one thing I regret is I didn't take opportunities at the time. Right, I wasn't asking out girls and stuff. I wasn't going to parties and like all that stuff, and like I didn't play any sports either. Like I wish I could go back and be like, oh yeah, I was on the football team in high school. Like, nope, I was in photography class, but but I would have liked to because I was just so nervous about what people would think of me. So like if I was to like call like 15-year-old me, I'd just say like don't worry about what people think about you. Be you, right? Like enjoy yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. I'm like literally talking to myself right now because I'm still kind of the same way, but like over the years, I can say that I have been like working on myself. Like I'm doing comedy. I'm the shy kid when I was 15. Would have never thought I'd be on stage, like hoping for like a full crowd of people to listen to like what I wrote, the jokes I've done, right? So like just to be, I wish I was more confident at that age, just to like keep pushing to be to take those opportunities and stuff, right? So I think like
Yeah.
confidence is key. High school, like I didn't really care for it too much. Like I didn't like party and all that stuff. I'm not gonna like lie and say like, oh yeah, I dated like 20 girls
Yeah,
in
yeah,
high
yeah.
school. I'm like, okay, like I haven't even touched a boob yet at
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I was like, what? When I found out at Max, when I found out that there was other kids in my high school that had already had sex, I was like, what?
Yeah,
What? How? I was like, what? Like, I don't even have the confidence to be like, would you like to go to a movie? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
let alone, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it was just mind-boggling. But
exactly. Yeah,
I think we too often, like from moment to moment, we're always thinking about our future plans and trying to set ourselves up for a better future. And that is a good thing to do, similar to the defense mechanisms that I mentioned earlier. But there's also a bad side to that too. You're also not really appreciating the present and just realizing that A, confidence is a choice, and B, like, the moments that you're living in now, you can just choose to be happy in those moments, because in the future, we don't look back at the past like, oh, I wish I could change this thing, really. We just more so wish that we would have spent like more time enjoying that period of our life.
I feel like I'm doing that a lot more now. So I'm 32. like I feel like I was doing that a lot in my 20s, just holding grudges and just like being like upset all the time. And even like now too, like if like something don't didn't work out with like a show, not even a show, like oh like I like you're not doing a showcase or whatever, or like or even just like personal stuff, just like oh you got rejected by this girl or whatever, right? Obviously it stings and stuff, but like it's gonna get better,
Yeah.
right? So just like I have to keep reminding myself that like I'm gonna have bad days and stuff, but like just constantly think positively. Think about like the good stuff that you have, right? Think about the good stuff you've done before. Um, and yeah, it goes with the confidence part too, because like if I bomb on a show or whatever, like sometimes I automatically think I'm just like how like I don't do comedy. Like why am I doing comedy? I suck at this, right? And then I
Yeah, you're
just look
like, I don't
back
even know
and
what's funny anymore.
exactly. I was getting that a lot when I was coming back into stand up during the pandemic. But like, yeah, like I just kind of look back and I'm like, oh no, I've killed like before. I've done well before. I've had people book me on shows before. So I'm just
Yes.
like, you have to keep that like self confidence and not like just be down on yourself all the time. And it's like even in my 30s now, like I'm pushing to be more happier, and just doing stuff that I want to enjoy. And yeah, just being more confident in everything you do.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, man. I mean, I just turned 30 in October, and so there's been that kind of a light bulb switch as well, where it's just like, oh, I need to stop giving a shit what people think about me, and I need to stop like holding grudges, like you said, and turning down opportunities because of X, Y, and Z, and just really like, even if the present situation sucks, just to know that it's not forever. Like
Yeah,
things change so rapidly. You live so many different lives. I think we're so conditioned to think so linear about life, like everything is supposed to be achieved on this certain timeline of events, like oh, I'm supposed to have a house by this time and a career by this time. And like the question I hated the most was like, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Like one thing? You want me to pick one thing to do for the rest of I can't do
it's
that.
it's too depressing.
It's depressing, yeah.
Yeah,
For what? To work 40 years and get a watch at the end?
and you don't even know what you want too, because like even me, like with the whole like firefighter thing, I only got into that like last year. Like I did not grow up like being like I'm gonna be a fireman, drive a fire truck that goes wee wee, like just like
Yeah, yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
Like I didn't think of any of that stuff at all. It was only recently when my friend works for Toronto, and he's like describing he's an old army friend of mine, and he's just describing like his job and stuff. And I'll be honest, like I got into firefighting for the wrong reasons in the beginning, because the one thing that like triggered me to like get into fire was he told me that he works 7 days a month. I'm like, okay. So the whole danger part just like flew
Yeah,
out
yeah,
in
yeah,
the back of
yeah.
my head. I'm like, you're telling me I can have all this time off? And like
And all I gotta do is run into a burning building?
I was more
Alright.
thinking as a comic, because like especially in like Canadian comedy, like
Yeah, yeah.
you can't really afford to live off of just comedy for the most part.
No.
And so like that's why like a lot of us have day jobs and stuff. Some guys are like lucky they have like writing gigs and stuff, which is cool and stuff. For me, I don't have that. Like I just do comedy, and then I have like an actual day job to actually pay my bills. But if I can work a job that gives me time to do stand up and like any other projects that I want to do, like this is the perfect job. And yeah, so I just got into it, did the firefighter school, and like the first time like putting on like the air the
The
air piece and
gas
stuff.
mask? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, when I put that on and stuff, and I'm in like we're doing the burn building, so it's just the mock like house that's on fire and stuff. We're doing that. I'm getting like the low air alarm on my air cylinder that I need to get out. I'm just like, oh, this is for real. Like
Oh
this
no.
is not like a fun thing or whatever. This is, but
You're like, I gotta do this for 6 more days?
But no, it changed my attitude about it because like it does have like that because I've been in the military. I was in the military for 12 years, right? I left and started doing like I started doing like network technician stuff, like it's just like boring like IT stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm like, this is just killing me, right? My manager's not gonna see this, so it's
Yeah, it's
so
fine.
I think I'm safe. But um, but yeah, it's just like I know what I'm doing, but I'm bored as hell, right? Like it's an okay job. I still have time to do stand up and stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm just like killing myself with it. And I kind of want to like for the firefighter part, like yeah, like it's great that like I can work. I have all this time off to do it, but at the same time, if I go to a job, I want to at least enjoy what I'm doing, right? I want
Yeah.
an actual purpose to what this job is, right? So like I don't know, like my main like goal is to like make it into stand up where that's the main income for me. But to be honest, like once I started like learning the firefighter stuff, I'm just like, this might like this is a job that I could retire in, right? I can still do stand up and stuff, but like it's a everybody that I know that's a firefighter, they seem to love it,
Uh-huh.
right? So I'm like, I don't know, this could be a job that I can actually like enjoy, and I found out very late in life, right? So yeah, like exactly like sorry, we just like veered off, but like going back to
No,
like
no, no. Yeah, yeah.
what you were saying about like just choosing one thing, like you're never like you don't need to rush into like knowing what you want to do. And like going back to like that question to the 15-year-old, like when I was in grade 12, I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. And I'm just like, all right, policing, easy, right?
Dude,
Just
same
I'm
thing.
like
Now
everybody
I'm
like
thinking
rush.
firefighting.
And I'm in my 30s now. There's guys in their 40s that like are like getting into that or like joining the army at like late 30s and stuff. Like I knew a guy that joined the army like in their like late 40s. I'm
Wow.
like, I would never do that because I
Yeah.
know it's a young man's game. And but like you know, people interests change and stuff, right? Like you like
And your brain's not even fully formed till you're 25. You know,
exactly.
that prefrontal cortex is still developing. So to ask a 17-year-old what he wants to do with his life, he wants to play video games and talk to girls. What do you mean? Like it's not,
Yeah,
like our ambitions aren't really that great. There's a
we're
few
not.
people who can do that, pick one thing at that time and stick with it. But are they happy? I'd like to
That,
talk to
that's
those people.
yeah. I don't like. I chose like a very safe job. Like my job right now, like it's good. I can't bash my I can't
Yeah,
bash my current employment, but
yeah, yeah. But if I could,
yeah.
I'll save it for
But
the
no, like it's
Patreon.
just like yeah, like the money, like there's money's great, benefits are great, but at the end of the day, like, are you happy with your job, right?
Yeah,
Like, there's times like I'd rather just do a 5 minute set at a club for free
dude.
than do an 8 hour shift at some jobs, right?
It's crazy. And even if the job is paying you well, like the whole, I'm gonna make a video eventually about this, but like one of the reasons why I quit my last job, doing the YouTube gig stuff was it paid the bills, and it was fine at the time, and like it felt like, oh, this is gonna be a great opportunity for me to keep growing at a fan base. But then I really took a hard look at the type of content that I was talking about every day and like the comment section and just like I'm like, people don't even want to hear this crap, and here I am just feeding the machine more celebrity entertainment news garbage that I don't even care about anymore. And it started
Yeah.
to show in the work. I'd be like, yeah, fucking Britney Spears is showing her snatch again on Instagram. Like, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, I fucking hated it. I was like, and then on top of that, I was always expected to work like after hours and on weekends and not get paid for that. And just it was just expected. And I was like, yeah, this sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. And
Yeah.
then, and then I ended up getting a job like with a friend who is part of a charity, and now I'm helping. Like I'm working with. I'm planning an event right now for June 18th. It's like a first responders gala. So it's literally just to honor first responders that volunteer in the area of like sports and recreation in the Ottawa community. So now I'm like, oh,
Nice.
okay, cool. This actually feels like I'm doing something good. Like we can we can honor these first responders, we can raise money so that kids can go into sports if they want to go into sports and not have to worry about the cost or anything like that. It just
Hmm.
feels like I'm finally doing something that I'm like, oh, I actually really enjoy this, and I enjoy what the outcome of it is going to be as well.
Yeah. No, like you said, like if you're not happy somewhere, because I have friends that are like they're not happy with their jobs, and I'm like, well, just leave.
Life is too short,
Like,
man.
yeah,
Life
man,
is too
you
short.
have to enjoy it. Because like, you could probably say the same thing. Because now that you're 30, like, my 20s flew,
Flew
like it
like a blink.
flew, and I feel like I've done like a lot, like with different things or whatever. It doesn't have to be comedy related, but just life in general. Like I try my best to like my goal is to like be able to travel more. Like I just want like more fun to that, but like I would like to travel more for comedy. That'd be like great. But just in general, I want to be able to see the world because there's just so much new stuff there. Like I went to Africa last year. My younger sister lives in South Africa,
No way.
and I've only been to Europe and North America. So I've never been to any other continent. So I'm just like I want to like be able to see like different places and
Yeah.
how people live and stuff. So that's like one thing I want to be able to do. And yeah, I'm just trying to be happier like in the end of it, right? So like when I'm in my deathbed, just I can actually like look back and be like, all right, I'm ready to go.
Like, yeah, I had like a full life, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm gonna get like really corny here for a second, but there was she was basically like my second mother, pretty much. And like even her kids are, I consider them to be like my brother and sister because I grew up across the street from this family, and I've known them my entire life. They've literally known me through every step of the way, right? And the mom recently passed away, and she was like just too young and too healthy and too active all the time to for it to like even make sense, you know? And I just kept thinking, I'm like, why are we so weirded out by death? This thing that we all constantly share. It's gonna inevitably happen to every single one of us here, but we never talk about it. Like, and if we
Hmm.
do, it's always in like a passing manner, you know what I mean? Like, or there's certain things that you're not allowed to say and certain things you're supposed to say to someone when they lose someone, but it's like really like none of us truly know what's after this. And much like being stuck in a shitty job where you feel trapped and you don't know what life is going to be if you leave that job or if you quit that job, we don't know what life is going to be after this life ends. Like it could be as simple as like, and this is the corny part, but bear with me, it's as simple as us being a caterpillar crawling into our cocoon and
Hmm.
then dying and then becoming a butterfly in some sense. Like what is that next like life going to be like? It could be 10 times better. It could be no money is involved because that's a man-made thing. No time is involved because that's a man-made thing. And now you're just kind of existing in this ethereal place with all of your lost loved ones, you know? I'd like to, not heaven per se, but we don't know, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like everybody has their different beliefs and stuff. Like I grew up Catholic, so like my like idea of it was just like, okay, I die, I go to heaven, everybody's there, and that's it. But like again, like nobody really knows what happens, and like just to like, I know like people, like there's a lot of people that are just negative. That's like, oh no, you just fall on the ground and nothing happens and stuff. I'm like, that's not a great way of thinking.
You're not
Of
really going
like,
to enjoy your life if you just think that's the end, you
yeah, it's like,
know?
ah, that's the end of my shift, and just croak after that. No, like I don't like obviously like nobody knows what happens and stuff. Like hopefully I can just be a ghost and just like hang
That'd be
out.
sick.
Just like
Or reincarnation, if that was real, I'd be like, that's dope
yeah,
also. Come back as a golden retriever in some, wealthy neighborhood, just lay
that'd be
around
fun.
all
Yeah.
day and eat and play. It'd be dope.
Yeah. So like nobody knows what happens. So I'm just like I try not to think about death like again, like and like we know what's gonna happen and stuff,
Yeah.
but Like, you know what? Like, if it happens, it happens, and
It's hard
hopefully,
not to when you're surrounded by it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
if it feels like it's happening a lot around you, then you start thinking about your own mortality, and you get that kind of like hollow feeling in your chest where you're like, oh fuck, like I don't, because we all fear the unknown, right? If we don't know exactly what's going to happen, we get scared and we get nervous and we make rash decisions. But it all goes back to that point of just like life is too short, so just do the thing you want to do.
exactly,
Stop thinking that other people are going to be judging you for it, or like who cares? Like the people that are quote unquote talking about you aren't paying your bills, so why would you give a shit what they think?
exactly, right? Whatever makes you happy, just do it, right? So,
I want to lighten the mood though. This is a game that I play a few times on this podcast. People watching will know. I pull up a random photo from your social media. You just got to explain to our YouTube audience what the hell is happening here. You got the Oakley sunglasses on, the classic graphic tee. I'm going to pin this picture somewhere in 2009.
Yeah, that was, I don't know. I look pretty cool with my
I think I look pretty cool. What is a
That-
turntablism?
that's probably something I got at Dixie Mall or something. Yeah, this is what was this? Either 2009 or 2010. Yeah, this is when I was already out of high school, and I'm like, I'm gonna change my image. I'm gonna be Clubber Max, and oh man, I I have not seen that picture in a while, and
You're like, I'm having regrets.
yeah, believe it or not, I did not slay any puss.
It is a hard thing to believe, I know, guys. Bear with me here, but it was not smooth sailing.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think I have that shirt anymore. It's probably at a Value Village still because nobody wants it.
It's been discounted like 3-4 times. Like, what is
Yeah.
this turntablism thing? Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm going to plug all your social media stuff here. Max Ross Comedy on Instagram, Max Ross Comedy on TikTok. You got YouTube
Nice.
and Twitter. I'm going to, all those links are always in the description below. Do you have anything to say to the people?
Dude, honestly, this was a lot of fun. Like
Yeah, dude, it was great hanging.
I didn't know what to expect. Like I said, with the whole like riffing thing, like I'm scared I'm gonna be silent the whole time, but like I like at one point I had to stop talking. Like, no, I had a lot of fun, man. This is great, man. You're doing a great job with these podcasts. I'm I'm
It's
definitely
all
gonna listen to a
powered
lot
by
more.
Zoom.
Zoom, that's the big sponsor for COVID. Right
Yeah.
there.
Well, it made this possible, right? Like before, if I try to do a podcast in person, then I'd need a podcast studio, or I'd need like all these different equipment things, and it always felt impossible. Which is another thing I want to tell people too. Don't let your current situation limit the things that you want to do. I think too often we think in terms of our limitations, and it just stops us before we've even tried to do something. You know, if you think like, oh, I don't have enough money to do a podcast, it's like, well, guess what? You don't really need a whole lot of money to start a podcast. You can just,
Yeah,
you can find other ways. If there's a will, there's a way.
for sure.
I'll hit you up though when I'm back in Toronto. I'm hopefully gonna get up there and do some shows once I get a car.
Definitely, man. Where are you right now?
I'm in Ottawa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I moved to Ottawa.
Oh, okay.
So hit me up if you're in our country's capital.
Yeah,
Nation's
for sure,
capital?
man. Nation's yeah. What? Toronto's not the capital of Canada?
Don't tell
Yeah,
people
like
in
I said,
Ottawa.
don't look at my report cards. Man.
Yeah. It was great hanging with you, Max. Well, I'll send you this link once it's up.
Okay, sounds good, man. Thank you very much, man.
All right, man. Hope you have a great night.
Yeah, you too, man.
And bye, everybody watching. You've been listening to The Johnny Rogers Show. New episodes air every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.